Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. As they say in Australia, I imagine, never been there. G'day. G'day, mates. Or actually, good night. It's Deportes Nation live at night. You know, Norma, I'm going to keep up that picture like I said last night because that picture makes me look good. It's the only picture I have, Norma, from 6 years ago. Just the right angle. And it makes me look, less ghastly than my reality. But we're live, apparently, Norma. Can you confirm we're actually live, Norma? Or are you saying no?
I'm checking right now.
I see us live, Norma, on Twitter. I do. I don't know about the Facebook.
Good.
Huh?
Facebook we're live. Yep.
All right. So I guess
I can hear us.
I can hear something, Norma. I'm hearing it back in my ear, so maybe I don't want to hear that. So, well, here's the big reveal. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. Deportes Nation, live at night. It's kind of a laid-back show. I hope you guys can enjoy it. We'll enjoy it. We have a lot on our plate, including, Norma, people come into your house all times of the day and night. It's like Grand Central Station over there. I'm Alex Parra. You see her on the screen beside me, Norma Morales. Norma, good evening. How are you?
I'm doing good, Alex. How about yourself?
I'm good, Norma. That's it?
Good.
Just no comment? That's it. I asked you how you were doing, and I'm fine, Alex. Thank you. Back to you.
I'm doing good. It's almost Friday, so no, it's been a good week. Good week for us. I mean, starting the show,
I think
getting
so.
some followers, so it's been a good week.
Now, Norma, Uncle Alex has no clue what he's doing. I still don't see us, so if you say we're on, I believe you were on. I don't see anyone interacting with it. I just don't see how this works. But you know what? That's just the way life is. Isn't it, Norma?
Yeah, we're getting some comments.
Already?
Norma says,
Jeez,
yep. Norma, she's ready for us.
Uh-oh. What does that mean? Yeah. Can't see y'all. That's what I just read. That's a good thing.
She says now I can. So
right.
I believe she can see us.
Norma, less of me is good. Maybe this should be, I've been told for many years I've got the face for radio, so I think that tells you a lot of what needs to be said. Good evening. Like you said, Norma, getting ready, I guess, for the weekend. It doesn't seem like we're back to normal, Norma, like a work week, then the weekend. With COVID and trying to get back to quote-unquote normal, it's still, every day
right.
It's been Groundhog Day for me for months now.
Yeah, all the days seem to run together. You never know what day it is, right?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what time it is right now, to be honest with you, Norma. I'm going to have my drink if you don't mind, Norma.
Oh, okay.
A riveting promotion without promoting, because they're not sponsoring the show, so maybe they'll like us a little bit more. Norma, a lot on the show today. We have a top 5 list, our top 5 sports moments, and we don't look at each other's, and then we just reveal it on the air. Norma, I've done my research on strippers, so I may have some updates, breaking news a little bit later on that. I know you're very interested in that topic, the stripper topic.
Last night when we signed off online, did you get in your car and you headed to a strip joint or something to report back? Is that what
Norma,
you did?
I'm not going to reveal my methods. I'm just going to say that I feel we owe it to our audience to research these things, and it's really about that. We're here to help the audience as best we can. I don't even think about myself in those circumstances, Norma. There was a three drink minimum, Norma, and there was a long line. So it took me a while to even get in there, and then they closed the place down.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
That's the way my life works, Norma. How has your day been, Norma? Everything good? Is it summer officially? Someone tell me that. I don't even know if it's officially summer, Norma.
Yes, it is summer, Alex.
Is
I
it
think
officially?
It is officially summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's officially
it feels
hurricane season.
It's hurricane season. I think with the heat that we've had lately, it feels like summer. Definitely. It's hot out there.
It's hot. You know what, Norma? This is a read I'm getting from people COVID is still with us, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later on in the show this evening. But there's still people, Norma, that are, I say this, and maybe we can have this discussion, that are getting ready to go on vacation. They're going on as normal, and maybe that's what we need at this point, Norma. We can have that discussion whether or not people should stay home or not. But I'm seeing a lot of people that are like, we're back and we're going on with our lives, and there it is. No politics involved, just it's time to take those risks. I think little by little, excuse me, they're lifting some of the travel limitations, and the country's opening up. Again, I'm not going to judge it for better or worse, but Norma, I frankly don't think we have much of a choice. We have to keep going.
Yeah, I think that's what everyone is saying, is we got to keep going. But, I think we keep going safely. We still, again, we go back to the mask thing. Do you wear it? Is it going to be now? I don't know if you had heard, Alex, but a lot of the mayors, of course, in Houston and Austin and in Dallas and other areas, that they're kind of, and even El Paso, they had signed something saying to how they can make masks mandatory. They're trying to get that to the governor to see if that could get passed. So, yeah, I'm curious to see what's going to happen and if people will follow it.
We just ran a little video of people testing, Norma. I think if any of you are in doubt, if you've been around people that maybe aren't feeling well, it's important to test. Testing, and even testing positive, Norma, is not a death sentence. It's not the end of the world in that sense. It's a test. And it's just a way to say, look, you may be asymptomatic, you may not have anything going on, and you try to remove yourself then for a while from maybe infecting others, if that's the right term, and you move on. So our government has one idea, Norma, our medical experts have another, and then really the choice at the end of the day is up to us, isn't it, Norma? I mean, no one's holding a gun to our head, thank goodness, and saying you have to do these things. Since day one, I think they've called these things recommendations.
Yeah, but Alex, the thing is, if I don't want to have COVID, to be honest with you, but
you personally,
if for some reason,
I don't want to have it either.
I do not want it. No. I mean, I had the flu 2 years ago, and I felt like that was the worst I've ever had. And if they say it's 10 times worse, especially those that get the symptoms, of course,
right?
I don't want it. But again, if you're asymptomatic and you don't get the symptoms, but yet you could give it to somebody else who could have an issue with it, I don't want to pass that along.
I get it.
So,
and none of us want that responsibility, and we have to be responsible for others. I think, Norma, what's coming up, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later, is decisions from school districts. Are they going back? How are they going back? I have two daughters in college who are just trying to find out what their schedule is going to be like. I believe many universities are going to have a hybrid of in-person classes and things like this, remote learning. I learn better from far away. So, yeah, this would be perfect for me. Never taken an online class in my life, Norma. Have you?
Yes, I have.
What is that like? Is there a professor? Is there, you just do your own teach? I mean, we're paying a lot of money for these classes, by the way.
Yeah, but you know what? You've got to be really disciplined, though, also, too. I mean, the thing is, you're going to have to make sure you do the work on your end.
You lost me already. So discipline and work on my own? No, not for me.
Right. The thing is, with even this past year, school year, a lot of us had to do a lot of, the schoolwork at home, have to help our kids. We basically became like
teachers.
We're always their teachers, of course.
How'd you do, Norma? Did you get a bonus this year from the school district for helping your kids?
No, I didn't. But I learned a lot. I should say, a lot of the methods of math are very different of what I've learned.
Norma, I use a calculator now. My phone is wonderful. I don't rely. I just do it all here.
I am guilty to say, Alex, when I have to help my son with his math, he'll do it on paper or do what he needs to do, and he'll ask if he did it right. And I kind of get my phone to the side and calculate it on the calculator just to double check his work.
That's not right, Norma.
I'm a little cheating there, but
Or
hey,
is it just a little bit? Norma, by the way,
yeah.
they're telling me to adjust something. So we're gonna go.
Okay.
Somehow we're having all kinds of issues. Norma, did you flip your camera or something? Something's a little bit off.
Nope. Online, it seems like we're fine, Alex.
Okay, well,
Maybe it's on you.
I have a few things that don't seem to be working right, but something moved,
Okay.
and I think we can get through the show without it. But something last minute moved on our screen, but I think we can survive it.
Hmm.
I hope so, at least.
So,
We'll figure it
yeah,
out.
Norma Solis says I am at high risk, and that's the other thing, Alex. There's people that are at high risk.
Sure.
Sometimes those people at high risk, they probably are unable to stay at home. Maybe they have no one to help them to go to the grocery store or to do errands or whatever. And so, I think if we all put in our to help everyone else and to help others is putting a mask on and to help out and not spread it if we do have COVID, of course.
Well, we definitely want to be responsible, Norma. I'm not going to,
Right.
this is nothing to play with, and we have to have that responsibility. And I do agree that the way we all do our part is just by being responsible, by thinking it through and making sure that we're helping as best we can. So it's a balance. It's a balance. And again, for anyone that's either high risk, anyone that is not comfortable yet, we have to be there to help others. And it's a balance, still trying to get out and live our lives. So anyway, thank you for joining us, all of you. Norm, I think we're live on 3 platforms. I'm just going to double check the YouTube, as I call it, to make sure we're on there. And again, I'm still learning. And this is why we really haven't advertised much, because we're trying to best figure out, Norma, how all this works. And I don't even know, and I'm about to check, and hopefully we'll be able to get a sign. And yes, ma'am, apparently it says here that we're live. So I'm very excited about that. So there you go. And at my age, I don't get excited about many things, Norma. So why don't we start up, Norma, with, I think it's an interesting topic. It's a little video we're gonna roll of
Okay.
what currently is a sound bite from Coach Bruce Arena. Those of you that may know Bruce Arena, he's a soccer coach. He's currently with the New England Revolution. Previously, he's been, with the LA Galaxy. He's also been the U.S. men's national team coach. He is American soccer by many standards. And courtesy of ESPN, by the way, the question was posed to him regarding kneeling and the national anthem. And why don't we roll that soundbite, Norma, now? Let's listen to it. Let's see what Bruce Arena had to say. By the way, talking to Taylor Twellman, again, courtesy ESPN. But here is that soundbite, and on the other side of it, we'll give you our opinion.
Well, today I understand why people are kneeling, and we saw it with the women. We saw it in the NFL, and I think if they're respectful, it's appropriate. Now, I would tell you this: I'm the most patriotic person ever going to be around. As a national team coach, at times at the national anthem, I was in tears. Honored to represent the United States in World Cups and international matches, and I think playing the national anthem is clearly appropriate at those levels. However, I question why we're playing national anthems in professional sporting events in our country. I believe the history of the anthem was it was brought in after World War II to kind of celebrate the baseball players and the people and our soldiers that participated in World War II. And then it was obviously extended to other sports to where it is today. And I think it puts people in awkward positions. We don't use the national anthem in movie theaters and on Broadway, other events in the United States. And I don't think it's appropriate to have a national anthem before a baseball game, an MLS game. But having said that, I want it understood. I am very patriotic, but I just think it's inappropriate. And today it's becoming too big of an issue.
So there you hear it, Norma, from Bruce Arena. He's basically saying, why do we play the national anthem during professional sports events in the United States? He feels it's not appropriate. I'll let you go first, Norma, but what are your thoughts? It's something we've been all taught to do, that the national anthem gets played before certain events, not every event, not in every situation. He mentioned Broadway. It's never played on Broadway. We don't do it in movie theaters. Does Bruce Arena have a point? Don't shy away from this one, Norma.
No. I mean, we always hear the national anthem. You're at a baseball game, right? What, you hear the national anthem.
Wait, hold on. We participate in the national anthem. It's not just listening to it. Everything stops.
Right. We participated. Yes, basically everything stops. We all stand up. It's everybody stops. And it's in every sport. You got boxing, you got, soccer, you've got baseball. I mean, it's all the way around. I know he had said, he also made a comment, Alex, because I had also read up on it, is that he says, why do we do it if majority of the players are not even American?
Fair point.
That was one of the comments that he had made. That's a fair point. I understand. Even in boxing, the opponent, and even I want to say, and also in soccer, and correct me if I'm wrong, usually international soccer, I should say, they do their different anthems in different countries.
So yes, let's break it down. No, please continue, okay. and I'll offer you my thoughts. No. But yes.
Okay, yeah. So it's like, is it just us, or is he talking about? I know he's just talking about us here in the U.S., but it seems like everybody does it in some kind of sport.
In international competitions, Norma, typically if there's one country versus another, they'll play both national anthems. We see this at the World Cup, the Soccer World Cup, for instance. We see this at the Olympics.
Right.
In ceremonies when it's up to, or whenever medals are being handed out. The question is, in the United States, for a baseball game. Every baseball game, apparently right before the game, at some point, it's part of the pregame ceremony. For many years, I was a commentator for the NBA, currently still a commentator with Major League Soccer, and the national anthem is something everybody takes into consideration, either from the fan side, from the production side, from the player side. It's part of the ritual of it. What Bruce Arena, from my perspective, is questioning is, why are we doing it? And then that is a moment to be able to express your points of view, your disenchantment at what may be going on. But the other side of this is, are you less patriotic if you would even dare say, no, it shouldn't be around? And why, Norma, at some events and not others? It just became a thing with sports. Why don't we do this right before every movie is played? Before you go into the movie theater, before there's a Disney movie, you play the national anthem. Would that be appropriate? Before you go to a performance, and many schools do have performances where they do play the national anthem. Our kids today, Norma, in Texas, Pledge of Allegiance of the United States, and if I'm not mistaken, the Pledge of Allegiance to Texas. Are these things making us more or less patriotic? Maybe that's a way to look at it. But what Bruce is saying is that he doesn't agree with it. My take on it is, hey, at international competitions, two different countries, let's do it. But in domestic leagues in the United States, I think he's suggesting we should eliminate it.
Yeah, I think traditionally we've always been.
You don't want to get in trouble, Norma. That's why you're slowing down here.
I don't want to get. I know. I'm just kind of slowing down on this topic here. To me, when you go to of course, like any sporting events, that's something that that's going to happen. You know that you got to put the popcorn down. You got to stand up.
Got to put the beer down, Norma. You're 2 or 3 beers in at that point.
You got to participate, But why is it, Alex? I mean, we don't do that for youth sports. I think maybe some youth sports we do it, but we don't. In soccer games, we don't do it. I think baseball we do it. I don't know in youth basketball if they do. I haven't really gone to a youth basketball game, but I mean, I know for sure soccer doesn't do it. But does it then?
So let me ask you this, Norma, and forgive my interruption, and maybe some of you that are watching can give us your opinion. What is the purpose? It's tradition, like Bruce Arena said. This was after the Second World War to bring unity.
Right.
And I understand the circumstances. Now, more than 70 years later, is it still appropriate? I don't think it makes us less patriotic to even ask the question, what is the purpose? I guess the purpose is to bring us together because we're under one flag, and I believe in that wholeheartedly, is singing the anthem that step that solidifies us and it makes us have a common culture. Is that the only way? And again, if that is, then why isn't it part of everything else we do? Not just
Right.
sporting events. So that's what's interesting. And I guess the next part of this is now athletes, the NFL has just come out recently that they understand why the current protests associated with Black Lives Matter are going to get behind the kneeling and the protest. The women's U.S. women's national team, U.S. Soccer just came out with a statement, Norma, where they say we're repealing this mandatory need to stand. If you want to kneel, if you want to express yourself, this is your chance to do it. So organizations now, institutions are saying it's okay not to participate, or you can participate in your way. Is one way to do this, Norma, to eliminate any problems, just remove it. We don't sing, we move on, and nobody even has that moment to protest. Will that make us happy?
Yeah, we just had a comment, Alex, from Mary Parra
Oh,
that said it's
my
out of
goodness.
respect for the country.
I get it. I don't agree with that lady much,
Yeah.
so.
Don't disagree with her, Alex.
Yeah, I can. I might not get my Father's Day present, so you're right. No, well, and she makes a good point. Out of respect for
She
the
does make-
country.
yeah.
Yeah. Mama's gonna slap my
That is a
hand.
good point.
I don't know how you see those comments, but I guess they're there somewhere. No, I really
Yeah.
have no clue.
Yeah, she sent a comment another way. That's why I could see it, Alex.
Got it. All right. Well, I'm glad you're
Yeah.
checking that. So really, we're I think questioning these traditions. Some, Norma, are good, some are bad. And again, in this moment of social unrest, I think that's a fair comment of social unrest. We're even going back and saying, okay, what is respectful? Is it? We talked about this a few days ago, Norma. Should certain monuments, should certain names in our history be removed? And I hear comments from people on either side, people on the left leaning that say yes, anything that's offensive should be removed. People on the right are saying no, that's our tradition, that's our history, we need to remember it. I think there has to be a middle ground there, Norma. And what happens in a sporting event, Norma, the moment the national anthem comes on, people stand up and other people say, nah, I'm gonna do it. Could we have physical problems in the stands, Norma?
Yeah, I mean, with the whole I don't want to say disagree, but the whole issue. No, I don't want to say it's an issue either. But
Norma doesn't want any problems tonight.
No. I mean, again, Alex, there's some people that say kneeling is fine. Some people say no, you need to stand up.
Right.
And I think with that, it kind of opens up the door of now people are going to really look at other things and say, okay, you know what? I don't have to stand up for the national anthem. I'm just going to sit here and eat my popcorn
And
I
drink
think it
drink
kinda
my
opens a lot
$12
more things
beer.
up.
This is America. I'm going to drink my $12 beer.
Right. So I think now what we've been discussing and what's going on, I think it's opening a lot of doors and a lot of things, discussions of a lot of things of people kind of reevaluating stuff.
But that's good, Norma. Conversation is good.
Yeah.
Communication is good.
Yeah, it's good.
And us disagreeing is good. Again, as long as we do it respect.
Right.
What are you leaving, Norma? You have someplace to be?
No, I'm just my battery was going low. It's just weird. I'm sorry. I want to make sure I wasn't getting cut off.
Oh no! If we lose you, Norma, there go the ratings. By the way, have you shared this? By the way, Norma, I haven't shared today. Have you shared?
Really? Wow, we're doing pretty good for not sharing.
Now, let me share, Norma. And ladies and gentlemen, this is where Uncle Alex every night figures out how to share this through his Facebook. Is that what we call it, Norma? I'm completely clueless. So I go to it, I click it, I figure out what's going on, and then I'm gonna try to. Oh, Norma, I'm lost again. This is so sad. Pobrecito, the little old man, Norma. I have no clue what I'm doing. this happens at my age. Share now. So I just shared it, Norma. I hope, I don't know what happens. So we can just hope that hopefully a few more people are watching and tuning in and listening. We decided to do this late night show. We're still working through the technical side, but we really do appreciate all of you that are tuning in. Between your mother and I, Norma, your mother, my mother, we have 2 people watching, so that's pretty good. We're very excited about that. So
Yeah,
that was our
excited.
first topic, Norma. A little bit about what Bruce Arena said and his basically questioning the need to have the national anthem during domestic sporting competitions. Very, very interesting. So let's go from that,
Yeah.
Norma, to something maybe a little lighter, a little bit more interesting. What we've been doing lately is we've been doing our top 5 lists. We had our top 5 sports-related movies yesterday. And I'm going to be a gentleman for once, Norma, and let you go first. But what I wanted to present, and we wanted to give all of you, is our top 5 list of top 5 sports moments that we have lived personally. And it could be via television, but we were trying to figure out if we could find enough top 5 moments, at least, where we lived it and where we were there. So we're revealing Ms. Norma's top 5. There we go, Ms. Norma. If you can guide us through it, please.
Okay. It's a little delayed, so I'm just waiting for it
All
to
right,
pop up.
I'm
on my
delayed
end,
too,
Alex.
Norma.
Yeah.
It took me a while to get out of bed this afternoon.
Okay, so my number 5 actually is with the Houston Dynamo versus Chicago Fire back in 2011. That right there it wasn't just about the game. It was more about where it was at and what the future was with the Houston Dynamo at that time. That was one of the last games that the Houston Dynamo had their game at Robertson Stadium, which is part of U of H.
Right.
And they were at that time already building the BBVA Stadium for them to get ready for their season at 2012. And to me, it was memorable because of the fact Houston Dynamo, of course, they had a couple of seasons, and now they were kind of upgrading into this BBVA Stadium, which was worth costing almost 95 million, I believe, is what I had read.
Correct.
Beautiful stadium. It's open. The only thing, it is hot. If anybody's ever been in there, it is hot if you sit in certain areas because it is open, and you know how Houston gets. But it was just a memorable time for me, just because of the fact that being able to see a Houston team starting from the bottom up of a smaller stadium and then now moving to the BBVA.
Got it. So Norma, 3 hours later, that was number 5.
Okay.
I'm not rushing you,
And then
I'm not rushing you, but hurry up.
Okay, let me see what my number 4 is.
There it is,
My number
Norma.
4
UFC.
there it is. My number 4 is the UFC. Now, this is my first time, 2014. You know, I've always been into MMA. I've always seen it all on TV, pay-per-view, but I was in Vegas that year and was able to see it up close and personal, Alex. I was able to take pictures with a couple of MMA fighters. One of the memorable time was with Forrest Griffin.
Forrest Gump?
At that time.
With Forrest Gump?
Griffin.
Oh, Forrest Griffin. I'm sorry. Peter Griffin
He's
from.
No, he was a former heavyweight champion of MMA. He had begun in 2005, of course.
Got
and it was just excited to see him. So it was just great. It was just the vibe. Everybody was hyped. It was just my first opportunity to really get a taste of MMA firsthand, just all live.
And
So
what happened
it was
in
a great
Vegas
moment for me.
stayed in Vegas for Norma, right?
Right. Yes. Exactly. My number 3 is Jimmy Fuge.
Yeah.
Actually, that was recent. Working with her, it's been a blessing, of course. And, she had went to the Olympic trials, and she, of course, was going on another year trying to get to the Olympic goal. And she was successful, of course, when she had that fight in Louisiana. And she was able to get a spot in the USA team. So to me, I think it was more momentum for me. It's because having her go through this journey, get to the goal, and just being a part of it is just a great memory for me. So
Got it.
Great moment.
Good.
Number 2, you can never go wrong with going to go see a Houston Dash game. They're always great games.
And plenty of seats available, Norma.
And plenty of seats.
But please
Plenty of
continue.
seats. But hey, yeah, no, it's great. And, especially what I like about their games, Alex, is that if you stay a little later, they have certain players come out and you get to take pictures with them. You get to get autographs. And one that year in 2018, out of every time that we had gone to these games, we were able to finally get to see Carly Lloyd. And Carly Lloyd is a phenomenal player.
And that's the picture, by the way, we have on that graphic, Norma.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's her taking a selfie with us. She's playing National Women's
I think you
Soccer.
photoshopped her in there, but that's okay.
No, but you know what? That was a great moment, because of course she's just a phenomenal soccer player. And being able to take a picture with her and see her in person, that was great.
And your number one, Miss Norma Morales?
And number one always has to do with boxing, right?
Absolutely.
Again. But was seeing the Margarito and Cotto fight in Vegas back in 2008. That fight was the first fight. They did fight twice. But the first fight that I did see them this is the one that Margarito had won against Cotto. And after that, he was basically, convicted, but was found to have illegal hand wraps.
Was caught, Norma. He was caught red-handed.
He was caught.
Yes.
Now that boxing fight, Alex, was, even though what had happened at the end of it, of him being caught with illegal hand wraps, the vibe and MGM was crazy. I mean, Cotto, of course, him being Puerto Rican, he had so many fans. I mean, Margarito had so many fans. It was packed. I mean, it was just the vibe. I mean, it was great. And Margarito, when they were both fighting, I felt bad for Cotto because his face, and if you look at the pictures, the images, if you Google it, you'll see how his face was so damaged.
Sure.
And I couldn't even believe that. I mean, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this guy is getting beat. But then at the end of the day, coming to find out that all this, what Cotto got, all this beating on his face, was due to illegal hand wraps.
What was the vibe?
Being a part of that was memorable.
What was the vibe like, Norma? I have not been to a championship, a world championship fight in Vegas. I've been to fights elsewhere, but not in Vegas. So that's still on my bucket list as far as sports.
No, Alex, if you have not, you have to go to Vegas and see a fight. That has to be on your bucket list to do. I mean, I was hoping that Vegas, of course, Vegas is open right now, but with COVID, I don't see myself going to Vegas. But I was hoping to go see another boxing fight, regardless of who it is, just because the atmosphere is it's great. Yeah,
it's unique. So there you have Norma's top 5 sports moments that she has lived, and Norma, it only took us 38 minutes to get through that, so that's not bad. I thought the producer told you to get through it, but we'll live with it. So now that leaves me like 2 minutes to get through mine, and that's okay. I'll just throw it out there.
I know, but I get excited when it's my moments. I get pretty passionate about it. I'm
but
sorry.
Yeah, but Norma, this your contract calls for a balance and having me talk, so you monopolize the time. No, I think that's really exciting. I think that's really, really cool that we have these memories. Here's mine, and we'll do mine really quickly, Norma. Number 5, tennis in Houston, professionals. Virginia Slims of Houston. I remember just having recently moved to Houston, 1986, and seeing Martina Navratilova, Chris Evert. It was amazing to see him in person, and the quality and ability of their playing, really cool. When I was much younger, 82, Norma, Tulsa Roughnecks, NASL, playing against the New York Cosmos. Players in the New York Cosmos were amazing. Being in a stadium, probably 20, 25,000 people, Skelly Stadium in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and watching the New York Cosmos with all kinds of star players, Giorgio Chinaglia, Franz Beckenbauer. It was really amazing to have that experience with those quality of players and rooting for the home team. Number 3, Houston Dynamo, the first match ever at home at Robertson. And this is where Brian Ching scored 3, if I'm not mistaken, 4 goals, Norma, in that match. And I was not covering it. These are not any sporting events that I've covered personally as a journalist, if you will, but they were more than anything me as a fan. So that's what was quite enjoyable. There were also several events at the old Houston Astrodome, which is still around. U of H football at the time was played there when I was going to school there. Houston Oilers games from the NFL and Astros games for Major League Baseball. And the one I really remember, Norma, 1994. I remember this date, and I think it'll be a long time that I won't forget the date, and I'll tell you why. And this one's really, really interesting because several of us went up to Dallas, Texas when the World Cup was in the United States, the Cotton Bowl, Spain versus South Korea, but that was the same night, Norma, that the O.J. Simpson chase took place out in California, in Los Angeles. So I remember going, and I think it was 4 of us. We drove up to Dallas, watched the match, and, 4 young men and me, no, 4 of us, getting ready to go to dinner, and we're sitting there, guys, where do you want to go eat? And we're literally in the same hotel room, and we spend the rest of the evening, Norma, glued to the television because we'd never seen anything like that, like OJ. So it's a memorable day because of the match, because being able to watch the World Cup, but there was a 2-2 draw in that match. But it was really memorable, Norma, because also the NBA Finals were going on at that time. There was a lot of energy around Dallas because of the World Cup. Again, it's just an evening and an event and a match that I will never forget. So there's our list of top 5 sports moments. Norma, any questions for me?
Yeah, the whole OJ thing, I think that's a memorable time, like a lot. I'm sure if we ask people, where were you at the time of OJ's chase?
Right.
I can tell you where I was.
Where were you, Norma?
Working at HEB. Yeah, I'll tell you.
Okay,
I was working
please.
at HEB.
In the produce department?
And I was on break.
Were you making sushi?
No.
No. Okay.
No, actually, I had the worst. Well, you start off doing the carts. Where you had to gather the
Well,
carts.
these days that's important because they're disinfecting those carts. But anyway, you were saying.
Right, yeah. But I remember being on break and getting my food, sitting in the break room, watching OJ, the whole chase, So I'm sure people will remember that of where they were at that time, watching TV, being glued to the TV, watching all this happening.
It was an amazing, surreal situation, especially, with what we know now of that. But there's several moments, Norma, I think in our lives. That's one of them, I think, the OJ chase. Certainly 9/11, Norma, is glued in my mind.
Yeah.
I will never, ever forget the house I was in, the color of the carpet, the television I was watching, Peter Jennings on ABC, completely surreal. I could not understand. I could not compute. I thought it was a movie. It was just really strange in so many ways. And I think, Norma, this COVID situation is not a moment. It's several days and several weeks and months of, again, a very surreal situation that in many ways, Norma, I see this as an opportunity also to bring us together. And as much turmoil and disagreement as we may have, I think memorable moments like this can be, in a way, used to bring us together, even if they're bad. I mean, 9/11 is horrible, is a tragedy, it's right. One of the worst things I've ever seen. The beauty of the human spirit, though, Norma, what came out of that and the leadership and what we've learned as a country is amazing. I don't want us to have bad moments to get together, but certainly they're memorable moments. And in sports, Norma, all of us have memorable moments. So any of you ladies and gentlemen that may be watching, do you remember one moment, maybe one goal, and it doesn't have to be you attending, being present at a sporting event, but maybe an event you saw, and tell us about it. Send us, what do they do, Norma? A note, a thing? I don't know how this works.
Yeah, they just have to comment on either whatever platform they're on. If they're on Twitter or Facebook, or YouTube. Mary P says she was at the beauty shop. I believe that she's referring to when the OJ chase, she was at the beauty shop.
She does that a lot, apparently. So she's got a permanent chair there at the beauty shop. Good for her. You know, Mom, I think I need a little visit to the beauty shop. Just whenever they open up, I need to go. Uncle Alex needs to drop some money on at the beauty parlor. No, the barber shop. I call it the barber shop.
What do they take about 2 hours to do your hair, Alex?
Norma, I have no. Like you said, the toupee's got to be glued on there, so it takes a little while.
They have to dry it down, make sure it's completely.
Oh, you have no idea. No, you know, I gave up on the hairspray. They just glued the piece on. The beard is a piece too. It's just two pieces, the upper and the lower. Yeah. That's the way it goes. So yeah, some of you that are watching, that are listening, give us your first or your best sports moment, and it could be a local thing. Norma, one thing I remember is when I played soccer as a young man. I can't believe I'm saying that.
Really?
Yeah, I remember
used to play
that.
Soccer?
Shocking, I know. If you see my coaching, it's obvious I don't have much experience. But I remember being in certain fields and winning certain things and losing certain things. I remember playing goalie, Norma. I remember Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. My team got beat 11-0. And the goalkeeper for the other team taking a free kick near midfield with the wind against us and the ball going over my hands into the net. Just humiliation. Humiliation. I'll never forget it. I learned from it, I hope, and I hope I overcame it. I'm still in therapy about it. But there are so many memorable moments when it comes to sports. Again, winning and losing.
Yeah. Some of my memorable ones are the ones where the parents get in fights at youth sports. I've seen I've been in the middle of a lot of those. And I tell you, those are some memorable times in youth sports for me and my family. So that it's been interesting.
Well, let's hope we avoid those, Norma. We don't want a lot of those, but it happens. Emotions run high.
Of course. Yeah, of course. I was not involved. I was just there in the middle of it.
I was just an innocent bystander, says Norma.
Well, you know, Alex, I mean, it happens, right? I mean, in youth sports, it's something that happens, and we don't want it to happen because of, you know, our young children being there and observing of what's happening, but it does happen.
It does happen. We wish we wish it didn't, Norma, but you're right. It happens. And look, that's one of the things about our sports culture, at least in the United States, and I dare say Latin America, Norma. I grew up in Mexico. I've traveled in Latin America. Sports are taken. There are some stadiums, Norma, for soccer in Latin America where I would never take my children and my wife. It's a male-dominated, male-oriented experience, and it's about rage and it's about screaming. I think in this, and as you may know, Norma, I've been around the world of sports as a commentator for many, many years, and one of the things that I always seek to strike a balance with is the consumption of alcohol in stadiums. I'm afraid that only fuels, in my opinion, it fuels the rage of many people. It's a custom. Back to the national anthem. We're supposed to. You go to the ball game, you're supposed to get the $12 beer and maybe 2 or 3 or 4 of them. Before you know it, not only have you spent $50 on beer, but maybe you're not in the most balanced position. Your emotions take a hold of you. And you're taught, go and scream, go in NFL games, go ahead and exhibit your rage or support for your team. Unfortunately, Norma, and you and I live this, there are many families and parents, and I'll use this word, who unfortunately think a youth game, a youth sports situation, you can behave the same way. Other than the drinking, and some may even do that, but they cross that line, Norma. There's got to be a balance between getting there, going out there, enjoying it, supporting your children, but also not becoming a spectacle.
Yeah, imagine if beer was sold at a youth soccer game.
Wow.
Are you?
Yeah, security.
I think it's crazy. I think it's crazy. Yeah, you know, first of all, beer's expensive at any stadium, but of course, you know, people want to enjoy it. They have a good time.
But you can have a good time without the drink, Norma. Anyway, don't get me started.
Well, you know, yeah, I understand. But, you know, of course, Alex, like even football. People are drinking, tailgating, and they're drinking probably at 10 or 11 o'clock that day before the game starts.
A
At
lot of
6 o'clock.
pre-gaming, Norma.
So,
Yes, I've lived it.
yeah, it's a lot of pregame. Yeah.
My brother Renee should join us. He's an expert.
Do you go tailgating, Alex?
I haven't, Norma. In my life, I've never. Now, I've gone to stadiums. Let me tell you a quick story. The Cotton Bowl, OU Texas weekend. I've been blessed to be there a few times and be a commentator a few times. And literally, Norma, since it's usually maybe an 11 a.m. kickoff or noon kickoff, there are people in the parking lot. They call it eggs and kegs, who are starting their breakfast at 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning and going right to, you know what comes good with my little breakfast taco? A little cervecita. Why not? Or 2, or 3, or 4. And then they get into the stadium where the party continues.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm not judging, Norma. I think there's different ways to have fun.
Yeah. Well,
So just leaving it at that,
as
Norma?
as long as everybody's having fun but doing it safely. That's the biggest thing.
Well, look, I think that's a whole other debate, Norma. The sale of alcohol in sporting events. Where is that? Where is the line in that? But maybe for another day. I don't want to cause too much trouble. And we don't have a beer sponsor yet. But the moment we have a beer sponsor, my attitude's going to change. I'm kidding. I hope you know I can try to be consistent. Let's see, Norma. So we did our top 5. Thank you for tolerating and putting up with our top 5. If you guys have any top 5s, we'd love to hear it and see it. Norma, I think the other thing we wanted to talk a little bit about was COVID and the reality, Norma. And I'm going to see if I can use a little bit of video, but this may be our future here, Norma. Empty classrooms. I don't know if once in Texas or in other states we start seeing empty classrooms, is it going to happen, Norma? What is school going to look like? And the context I'm giving us for this, Norma, it's not only that schools, but we could literally be in a situation where stadiums are like this. Will there be fall sports for kids? Will there be football? And as parents, we're trying to figure out, even if we send our children to school, will we have that choice, Norma?
Yeah. Yeah, I think schools are looking at both sides, Alex. I mean, on the education part to see. I just did a survey the day before yesterday for my school district. They're asking all the parents to do a survey, and they ask the basic questions like, how comfortable do you feel to send your kids to school?
Right.
Are you able to? Do you have internet? Do you have a computer? So I think they're trying to gather a whole bunch of information first to really make, I guess, the right. I don't know. Sometimes it may be a right decision, but others may not see it to be a right decision. So just to make some kind of decision on what they're going to go with for this upcoming school year.
What is your gut feeling, Norma, on this? And again, I think it's just like for many of us, it's just a feeling. Are we going to try to get back to normal?
Yeah, with Alex, I mean, with school, I think they're going to give us more options in regards to maybe the older kids doing more online. Younger kids, I think they probably want to do more a structure of more classrooms. But, I don't know. I guess it goes back to, do they kind of prolong it until we know more about COVID, until there is some kind of cure not say cure, but some kind of vaccine to help with it.
Right.
I don't know. Again, it just kind of goes back. It's an unknown, and right now, I think with the schools, they have a difficult job right now. I should say. I'm sure it's stressful trying to figure out to do what the right thing to do for families at this time. So, I give it to them right now because they do have to make some decisions. And again, some people may not be happy. Some people may be okay with it. But we'll see what happens.
You mentioned something interesting, Norma. Technology. We assume, and many of us are blessed to have Wi-Fi, to have a computer, to have the means to communicate this way. Any of you that may be watching us through a smartphone, obviously the world is now, and we live it here. This is kind of what we do. And by the way, there we are, Norma. I'm allowing ourselves to watch ourselves. But my point is, we still have, Norma, in this country, there's still families that live in poverty. There are still children that go to school every day, and that's the only place where they get a meal. It's shocking that in the United States of America in 2020, this is happening. Some of these families, Norma, forget having Wi-Fi, forget having a laptop, forget having an iPad. That's not even in the realm of the possibility. So we have to be conscious that what may seem so automatic to many of us isn't for everyone. And many children are literally, Norma, not learning, maybe not even eating. And we've got to be conscious of that. We've got to try to find a way to help. And maybe this whole situation will allow us to better modify those things. I genuinely believe that this is the time for corporations, certainly high-tech outlets, companies that even companies like Apple and others, find a program to get out there and get in front of people and help them in that way. I think that's one of our responsibilities because technology is part of our world.
Right. And, the school districts will probably only have a certain amount of laptops or iPads to issue out. And I'm sure, like what you said, Alex, not everybody has that. Not everybody has internet service. Not everybody has, like what you said, kids only may have an opportunity to get, breakfast and lunch, both meals only at school. So, again, it goes back to school has a very tough job right now. I do give it up to them because they do have to make those decisions. And even with the teachers, I'm sure they're ready to go back to teach these kids. But again, with the COVID situation it kind of pushes it back because trying to find the means of doing it safely as well.
Sure. At what risk? You talk about being in the front lines, Norma. Being in the front lines, a lot of our medical professionals have been doing that through COVID. Teachers may very well be in the front lines, educators, because they have to deal with so many people. So it's a yet to be determined situation. I think the word I use, Norma, is balance. I think we've got to figure out a way so that we can, in some way, still keep working, still keep our distance, still try to be separated, but still get on with life as best we can. And it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be beautiful, but there has to be a balance there of hopefully how we can make that happen.
And Alex too. I mean, the teachers have in classrooms, just at elementary, they may have 15 to 20 kids per classroom. And do they split those kids up? But how can they if they don't have the space? How can they if there's a shortage of teachers, etc.? I mean, again, there's a lot of things that they have to think of. So hats off to them. I don't think I could be in that situation and make those decisions at this point.
No,
those are hard.
And the reality is, Norma, not everyone's going to be happy. I think someone is going to be disappointed. A decision has to be made. And I understand it, that at some point it's either go or no go. At the end of the day, it's either yes or no. And yes, you can have a hybrid learning remotely situation. But what happens, for instance, again, back to Deportes, back to sports. Do you not have a football season? And if you do, does the band travel with the teams? Let's say high school football. Do the cheerleaders go out there? If the cheerleader tests positive, does that mean the football team can no longer participate? Are those people quarantined? Those players, those students, are they quarantined? A lot of questions, and the truth is, Norma, none of us have the answer. It's just the best educated guess to try to hopefully mitigate the COVID. That's the best we can do, I think.
Right.
Two more things.
I agree.
Sorry, Norma. Two more things. We've got about 5 minutes left in the show, so two more things I wanted to get to. I wanted to show you a little bit of a video here of Tulsa, Oklahoma, where President Trump will be having a political rally on Saturday. Not judging the political rally, not judging the location. He originally had it set for tomorrow, which is considered Juneteenth. And there's a little bit of controversy about that. But my point in bringing this up is, Norma, apparently the arena in the BOK, I believe it's called, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Norma, is expected to be full. Is now the time for political rallies? We haven't even figured out schools. We're still in some states with increasing numbers of COVID infections. Is this the right message? And Norma, and the Democrats may be right behind him. Is this the right thing to do? Or again, it's a recommendation. People get to choose where they go and how they behave.
Yeah, again, Alex, this kind of goes back, with the rallies. I'm sure there's going to be more out there until someone says, "Hey, no more." I think it's going to continue for people to get to these kind of gatherings, and of course, even like with the protest, that millions of people together, of course, and so I think it's just going to continue.
It is a freedom, Norma, that we have. It is the liberty that we have in whether it's political, whether it's sports. But that's my point. What is the difference between filling that arena with 20,000 basketball fans or hockey fans, or for a concert and a political rally? I guess the message I hear is go for it, right? It's open.
I don't know, Alex. For me, I think people are going to do what they want to do. We can all have our opinions. I don't want to be a part of it, of course. So I think if that's what he's going to do, he's going to wind up doing it anyway. So
and he is Trump, but Norma, the Democrats maybe do the same thing. I think the Democrats have tried to have virtual conferences, virtual meetings. There's nothing like being there in person. I understand that aspect to it. So these are the questions that we're grappling with, and I guess we'll have a little bit more information day in, day out. Also, Norma, the protests, again, it's summer. It's a summer before a general election, a presidential election. Things are going to heat up, Norma. Things are going to heat up.
Yeah.
I hope in a positive
I'm
way.
Sure it is.
Before we wrap up tonight, though, Norma, I did want to finish, hopefully, on a positive note. At least I think it's a positive note. What's coming up this weekend, Norma? Feliz Dia del Padre.
Father's Day.
That's right.
It's been Father's Day since Monday. You said. Remember, you said you celebrate the whole week.
For me, it's an entire day. By the way, we have a bilingual graphic. For me, it's the whole month, Norma. Yeah.
I know.
It's the whole month of fathers, at least for Alex. I take the whole week, Norma, and celebrate myself for being it's a very difficult job, Norma. I had to interview, and you had no idea how long it took me to get this gig. Please.
Go ahead, Alex.
You
go ahead.
How do you guys normally celebrate with your husband, who is also a father?
Oh, is he?
That's well, you're the only one that can know that for sure.
No,
he's legally the father, at least.
You know what? He's like you, Alex. What you said. I just want to eat, sleep, leave me alone.
Oh, I
let
love
me rest,
that.
kind of day.
Oh,
so that's yeah.
A nice.
We did buy him a gift.
Oh, you did.
We did buy him a gift.
Can you share?
Yeah, we did.
Can you share or no?
I could share what we got him.
Well. Here's the question. The little graphic I showed is with a tie. I've gotten so many ties for Father's Day. I've gotten so many wallets. I've gotten socks. I've gotten slippers. What do fathers really want, Norma? That's the question. Like mothers really want. I don't know what mothers want. I've pretty much been around many mothers for many years, but it's not the gift itself, right, Norma? What do they say? It's the thought that counts.
It's a thought. It's a thought that counts. Yeah, it's a thought.
So
yeah, with Mother's Day, I mean, we're not picky. I'm not picky. My kids got my kids did me cards and flowers and little stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a thought that counts. Yeah.
But we are different animals, Norma, men and women. And like you said, I think women want to and need to be celebrated more. For the most part, I think men, for the most part, I think are a little bit more laid back and just let me be for a little while. Maybe I'm wrong.
Alex.
Yes.
Alex, let me ask you this.
Please.
You were born in Mexico, of course. You know more of this than I do.
Where are you going with this, Norma?
No. I'm going with.
I got my papers if you want to see them, Norma.
So Mother's Day.
Yes.
in America, in the U.S. is the
Different,
last. No, it's the,
different dates, right? Yes. Is that where you're going?
yeah. So
Yes.
So it's a Sunday in May, and then in Mexico, it's Dia de los Madres,
Yeah.
which is celebrated on May 10th. Because, by the way, that's my birthday.
Oh, right. Hold on.
That's
Norma's
how I know.
May
Yeah,
10th.
right, my birthday.
I'm
Yeah.
writing that one
So-
down. I'll forget
So,
it.
do they have a Father's Day? Is it separated the same? Is there a Mexican Father's Day?
Well, I think they should have multiple Father's Days. But yes, there
I
are.
don't know.
There are certain. I think
it
for
all the
Father's
same?
Day,
Is it-
it's the same. I think, and someone's going to correct me on
It's the
that
same
one.
day?
Yeah, I believe
Okay.
so.
I thought you would know this, but I was wondering if it's the same day as when we celebrate it, or
Well,
is
well,
it a
my
different day?
Mexican
Like,
kid, my Mexican kids celebrated one day. My American kids celebrated this coming weekend, and then my European kids celebrated also in September. So, Father's Day depends on what continent I'm in, with which family I'm with. That's how I figured that one
Got
out.
it, got it.
Very good question,
I was just
Norma.
wondering if it's the same day. I was
Very
just wondering
good
if it was the
question.
same day or not.
Yeah. Well.
Because what I try to pull, Alex, I try to pull at least to get 3 gifts.
Ooh.
So my birthday,
For you mean?
right? May
Okay.
10th, for
Yes.
me, and then I do the Dia de los Madres because it's Mother's Day also, so I should get 2 gifts.
Two.
And
third.
then Mother's Day, which is that Sunday. So I try to get 3 gifts out of that.
Wow. And usually the same gift or something, right, Norma? Perfume for all 3. What Norma, people give me cologne, they give me breath mints, and they give me Kleenexes. So I'm a smell apparently, and I'm very dirty. That's all I get: cologne and breath mints.
That's a sign, Alex.
That is a sign.
That
And
must be a sign.
I now understand when people say, "Hey, what's up with that guy? He smells old." I smell old, Norma. I have that stinky old man smell. So anyway,
Now I know who to get breath mints from, huh?
oh, I've got tons, Norma. You know my breath strips. That's all I get from people. Here, have one of these. I remember my mother in church. I'd get close to her. She goes, "Here, honey, have a mint or 6, please." I figured out the hint right away. It was like, you need something,
Hey,
Alex.
talking about Mary P. real quick.
Yes.
She did make a comment in regards to tailgating. She says,
Yes.
before the tailgating, I start with a nice cold Bloody Mary, and then I leave the driving to somebody else.
At least she's responsible. I appreciate that. That's pretty good.
Yes. Yeah, that's good.
I didn't ask you, Norma. Have you tailgated in the past?
Alex, I have never tailgated.
Because you haven't been invited. You don't have friends,
I don't have friends.
right?
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. No one invites me because
Well-
they don't want me around.
Well, actually, I have, now that my kids are older, I can do it now because my kids can take care of themselves. But before, we could never really do it. It either had to be my husband go by himself or I would have to go by myself.
Got
So now we can go, but with all the COVID stuff, we were going to have to wait on that.
I
So-
see. Well, you have like 7 kids, Norma, so you've been pregnant a lot, so I can't go. I'm pregnant again.
I can't go. Yeah,
That happens to
exactly.
Norma. Norma, they're telling us it's time to go. We're past the 1 hour threshold. I don't know how we do it. I don't know how we sustain this. Well, I know because of your support and you, ladies and gentlemen, watching us. Norma, any final questions or comments before we wrap up? Again, I can't really keep track of all this stuff, so I rely on you.
I don't see anything yet for Facebook.
Okay. So
No comments.
great. Well, listen, Norma, we'll have one more show tomorrow, Friday. Today's Thursday, right? I have no clue what day today is.
Yeah, today's Thursday.
Today's
Tomorrow's
Thursday.
Friday.
We'll have one more show, and we thank all of you for tuning in, for following us, for commenting, and also send us your comments or questions. We want to improve this. We want to do it better. We need to get Norma to get through her top 5 in 30 minutes or less, if possible. I think that'll be great.
Hey,
For next time.
You didn't tell me I had a time limit. I'm gonna go off.
Well, I think I just did, Norma. I think I just did.
Well, my producer said like a take as much time as I want.
There you go. All right. She talked to her
I
agent
don't
and her
have time
producer.
of it.
All right. That's your prerogative. So, on behalf of all of us, Norma, you get to close the show tonight, Norma, while I figure out my music. Can you do that for us?
You want me to close it out? Well,
Sure.
first, I
You
just
get to
wanna
say
thank
goodbye.
everyone
You just send it away, Norma.
on behalf of myself and Alex, thanks for joining us. And we hope to see you tomorrow, same time, probably around 10. Thanks for joining.